but how you solve it. So it is with great pleasure that I yield to her, and I have know her and respect her for what she stands for.
The outstanding member from California, Ms. Pelosi, is recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the ranking member for recognizing, giving me this time, and for his kind words. This is probably our last MFN fight, Mr. Chairman, I call you. And as I said on the day we had our special order for you, you're truly a gentleman from Florida, and we have all benefited greatly by your service here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of what Mr. Miller referred to as the well-intentioned resolution presented by Mr. Cox. I called it the fig leaf. I said if there were ever a national flower specific to the Congress of the United States, it would be the fig tree, because we just have fig trees all over the place. It's beginning to be Mediterranean around here. This fig tree, this fig leaf is even a transparent one, but it could be something. If everyone has the resolve of Mr. Cox, who has been a great leader on human rights throughout the world and on this China issue, and if the leadership of this House is serious about this resolution and is not just using it as a fig leaf, it is a fig leaf until it's something else, in my view, then this could make the real difference, Mr. Cox, and once again you would have provided a service. One of the joys of working on the most favored nation status with China and human rights issues in China, trade, proliferation, etc., is the bipartisan coalition that we have formed, the relationships that have developed to help us solve other problems as well in the House. And Mr. Cox, Mr. Smith, I see over there, and you know the list, Mr. Solomon, Mr. Gilman, Mr. Wolf, the list goes on and on. It has been my pleasure to work with all of you. I want to make a few comments. Of course, I support Mr. Cox's amendment, and I think we have to make sure that it has teeth and that it's real. But the fact is that those of us who have been working together all this long time on this issue didn't start with using MFN as a tactic. We started with World Bank loans. We started with conditional renewal or targeted sanctions or every possible kind of relationship that we had with China in a financial institution or a financial relationship. So it'll be interesting to see what the committees of jurisdiction come up with, which has already been rejected over and over again by this House. I do hope that the focus will be on a prohibition on products made by the People's Liberation coming into the United States, or raising tariffs at least on those products. Because the People's Liberation Army occupies Tibet, crushes dissent in China and Tibet, proliferates nuclear, biological, chemical, and missile technology to rogue countries, and has been for many years selling and now smuggling AK-47s and all kinds of other more dangerous weapons into the United States for use here or to be shipped to other countries. I speak from some experience here because I'm from San Francisco, and I have seen and heard about all of this firsthand, and you know that's where the sting was made, in San Francisco. With all due respect to those who have talked about human rights here today, and in all respect, as I say, for Mr. Gibbons, he said he knows I feel very strongly and he shares some of those feelings. Yes, I feel strongly, but I think about it a lot too, and I make a distinction there. This isn't about feeling. It's about analyzing what our options are and giving some priority. Yes, we all care about human rights. Let's stipulate to that. Who cares enough to give it some priority? Who cares enough to say to a country like China is repressing its people, and that repression has increased since President Clinton delinked trade and human rights, that this is important in our relationship? Administration really doesn't even talk about it very much anymore. They talk about larger issues. In fact, the more time goes by, the older their thinking is on how we deal with the country. We must insist that in all of our relationships, we make the trade fairer, the political climate freer, and the world safer. The Clinton policy is doing just the reverse. And I also want to make a comment about our colleagues who have said, well, we give MFN to Iran and Iraq. May I have another minute?
Gentlewoman's time's expired.
Thank you.
Yielded one additional minute.
Iran and Iraq. We have an embargo on Iran. We don't trade with them. Not only that, we have a secondary boycott on countries that would invest in petroleum in Iran. So this whole thing of we give MFN to everyone, so why not China? If we have a special situation as China is, where the president must request a waiver, and that's what gives us standing on the floor, and that country represses its people, violates our trade relationship, doesn't allow, by and large, most of our products in, doesn't play by the rules, uses prison labor for export, steals our intellectual property, misappropriates our technology and copyrighted items for use for manufacture to their own, so they develop their own industries with our copyrights, does all of this, and at the same time has a $35 billion trade deficit with us. That is an opportunity where we can use that for leverage. And to those who say, well, some of that trade deficit came from other countries. Those jobs used to be in other Asian countries. Well, they're in China now, and that's why we would have leverage. Doesn't matter where they were before, it's where they are now. The Chinese government cannot afford to lose 10 million jobs that spring from a U.S. trade. They can't afford to lose $35 billion. It'll be over $40 billion this year.
Gentlewoman's time's expired.
So I need another minute, Mr. Chairman. In my final minute, Mr. Chairman, after putting some of these thoughts on the record, I do want to put a couple letters on the record. One is a letter from Adam Yauch. Adam is with the Beastie Boys. He's been working very hard lobbying members to vote against MFN for China. And a couple of weeks ago in San Francisco, he had 100,000 people gathered to support Chinese and Tibetan human rights and to oppose the brutal oppression of the Chinese government. Maybe the leadership of this House is afraid of what's going on out there, that people are catching on to this issue. In any event, without objection, I'd like to put Mr. Adam Yauch's statement in his letter in the record. And in closing, I want to mention on this, as we go into the 4th of July, a great champion of human rights and of liberty, hopefully inspired by the United States. Certainly his thinking is in line with our founding fathers. Mr. Wei Jin-cheng. Nothing drives the Chinese crazier than our talking about Wei Jin-cheng, because he speaks the truth. He served a 14-year sentence. They let him out for a few months because they won at the Olympics. As soon as he spoke up again, they arrested him again for another 14 years. And here's what he said to get arrested. From the moment he is born, a human being has the right to live and the right to strive for a better life. These are what people call God-given rights, for they are not bestowed by any external thing. They are bestowed by the fact of existence itself. Without equality, human rights must lose their real meaning. Without the protection of human rights, equality can only be an empty slogan. In the spirit of our founding fathers, as we approach the 4th of July, I want to commend to our colleagues the plight of Wei Jin-cheng and hope that one of the priorities that we have is to tell the Chinese that we insist upon his freedom. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, Mr. Gibbons, thank you for your leadership.
Gentlewoman yields back the balance of her time.